Hi there, my name's Sam. I'm a sports therapist and I'm somebody who's very interested in helping and trying to encourage more of an understanding that stretching is something that is very powerful and that it helps us track and understand muscular tension, and it also helps us free a lot of energy from trauma, tight muscles, or general discomfort. So we're starting in the quadruped position here. And from here, I want you to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just being in this position, you are holding yourself in a skeletal position. Hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. When you're breathing, if you can feel tension in your rib cage as you expand your lungs, and a sense of relief when you blow out, you definitely need to be practicing this up to 10 times. So you're expanding the lungs and you are getting into those muscles. So up to 10 times you could be doing this. For this video, I've just done 5. You can pause me and continue if you wish to. From there, what I would like you to do is to drop back and extend out the arms. Feeling the stretch in your shoulders, feeling the stretch in your chest, and feeling the stretch around your neck possibly. I appreciate that while you're watching this video, you're probably looking at what I'm doing, but I would advise you to watch it through, or at least get familiar with what's going on and try not to look at the camera, because it's going to put your head and your neck in an irregular position. Okay, we want to be here when we're doing this. All right, so once again, I'm going to put those arms out. Bum goes back to heels. My big toes are underneath my feet. Okay, so they are tucked under. That is for extra stretch. You'll feel the stretch going through the shins, possibly in your calves. All right, if it's too much, then by all means drop the feet down and let them be flat. All right. You'll also notice that I've got this towel underneath my knees, because if you do struggle with knee tension, then we need to try and make things as comfortable as possible. But we do need to see what muscles are doing what and what tension they are holding. So for the last time, when you get into these positions, I really want you to take a nice deep breath in and a deep breath out. And depending on how long you want to do this for, stay there up to 3 flows of breath. So in and out, in and out, and then that final time. The next thing I'm going to ask you to do from the quadruped position, so this hands and knees, is we're going to drop the hand underneath us. We're going to come down, supporting at a right angle with the elbow, or round about the 90 degrees. Nice deep breath. And then come up and then drop to the other side. If you're feeling any tightness down the sides of the lower back, I just want you to breathe there for a moment. If it's what you would class as being painful, then obviously I don't want you to stay in that pain, but I do want you to try and breathe into it and see if you can reduce it and in fact have a better behavior with it. So can we then go back out to the extended arms? Nice deep breath into the lungs, rib cage. Is there any tightening in that rib cage? Can you feel any pressure around the back? This could be for many reasons. So now I am just swinging my spine from left to right. I appreciate that if you do have any curvatures in the spine, scoliosis being the sideways, the S, okay? If you have top curvature or lower curvature, you might find things a little bit restricted. But it still comes down to the fundamentals that if muscles are tight, muscles can be released, muscles can let go. And with that, it can change the behaviour of the bones that are around it. So, what I'd like to try with you now is to take one knee and tuck it behind the other. You may not be able to get that knee down onto the floor. Okay, it might get stuck. You might feel tightness in the hip, in the bum, and this is brilliant. The fact that you can feel that is now giving you another area of tension. And if we do have over tight walls in the glutes, this can really be a very strong indicator of lower back issues and anything that can ricochet down the leg if we have any nerve problems. So I've tucked that knee behind and I'm exposing this glute wall. If I want to take it any further, I can extend that leg out. Depending on how much you put it out there, all depends on what the muscles will allow you to do. But I don't want you to overexert. I want you to just feel and receive the feedback that your body is giving you. So now I'm going to go to the other side. You may find on one side you can get your knee down. You can easily do it. On the other side, you might not be able to. Again, there's multiple reasons why muscles do what they do. If you have a dominant side that is used to being the one that you use predominantly all the time, all right, it might be so fatigued that you might not be able to stretch it because the muscles are just poised and ready to be used again. So from here, we can get that leg out again, stretch it through, see what's going on, and breathe. I'm going to come back to the quadruped. All right, so these are all very static stretches. I will be looking at doing another video on movement in stretches, but right now we're just trying to get into a static stretch. So we're coming back down into this, straighten those arms. You might feel a little easier through the shoulders now. Nice deep breaths. And then we're going to come back up. Now, we are now going to go onto our backs, okay? And I want you to just take a moment to completely lie flat on the ground and just see what you feel. So just join me. If I sit back up, it's probably because I just feel better for talking to you. But I want you to lie down on the floor and I want you to just breathe. I want you to just stay there, lying down on the floor, and I've come up to talk you through. I want you to be mindful if you are holding tension anywhere, that although you are lying on the floor, do you still feel you are holding yourself? Okay? Do you feel you're holding any tension in your ankles and your toes? All right, move them around. Are you feeling any tension around your knees? All right, in order to try and let them go, you have to stimulate your thighs and your glutes. All right, you have to squeeze and release and let go. Are you feeling any tension around your hips? And when I say hips, more about your lower back. If you do have a slight curvature in your lower back, you're going to find it difficult to let it completely relax because your spine is used to having that curve. This is where I want you to do a nice deep breath in through the nose And I want you to breathe in, down into the tummy, and I want you to expand that stomach. So as you expand the stomach up, your lower back should go down. And this is a way that we're going to tease the spine down towards the floor. I want you to do that a couple of times with your out breath and just let feel the stomach, feel the spine, and then breathe out. It's the way we relax the pelvis. As you come up into your shoulders and your upper back, all right, there are a lot of muscles around there. Are you holding yourself? When you breathe, do you breathe fully? Do you give completely into the breath? Or do you hold tension around the shoulders because you're used to doing that on a day-to-day basis? And therefore, those muscles are poised, holding on. I want you to breathe. I want you to just play around with your neck and just move your head side to side. All right. Now, I'm going to go back to lying back down, and I'd like you to take the opportunity to look at the screen if you've not been looking at the screen and see how I now take my knee over my midline. Okay, so I'm coming back down, and I'm going to take that knee up, and I'm going to take that knee over. And I'm going to try and keep this opposite shoulder down. I say the opposite, but it's obviously the same side. But now I'm in this diagonal position. I'm trying to keep the shoulder down. All right? I really want to try and get that alignment or that diagonal stretch. Okay? And then I'm coming back to center and I'm dropping that leg down and then I'm bringing the other one up. And if you're happy with what I'm doing and you'd now like to join in yourself, then please do. Keeping that shoulder down, being mindful of what's going on in comparison to left and right side. Stretching. Does it easily let go on one side more than the other? Or it's come back. In future, I want you to use your tighter side first and then your better side and then go back to your tighter side. See, then you are then giving those muscles that are tighter or shorter a bit more stimuli, a bit more engagement. Shoulder down, breathing, stretching, allowing your spine to get that opportunity to let go. I'm going to come and sit back up. If you'd like to carry on, please do. But it's really important that we understand what letting go is. Stretching is not about brute force and how far you can push it. Stretching is actually about letting go and letting the muscle have its relaxation, let it have its length, let it have its moment. It's not being used. It's being used to get it to where you want it to go. And once you've got it there, let it go. All right? Almost tune into your skeleton. Let the skeleton just go. And it's very easy for me to say it, but I have come from a background of understanding pain and feeling trapped. So I'm not just talking to you very flippantly. I do get it. All right. So you've been doing that. The knees have been going over. Quite possibly have now gone. Actually, I stopped doing that about 30 seconds ago. So what I now would like is to bring you back onto your hands and knees. So coming back onto our hands and knees now. I want you to just check where your neck is. If you're looking back at the screen, I appreciate that, just to make sure you know what I'm doing. But I want you to try and get a gaze to make sure that your cervical spine, okay, your neck is neutral. Do you feel that you've got less tension around your neck since you did it from the first time? I certainly do. Okay, I definitely feel like I've got less restriction, which is fantastic. I'd like you once again to go into that extended arm stretch, breath. Now this time we're going to try and do a combination of two of the stretches. We are going to take one leg behind the other, whether it's in knee form or straight leg form. And then we're going to try and drop the arm underneath us. So we're now getting a double stretch, a double impact, okay? Now this obviously can have its own rewards, but it also can have its challenges. Your balance, your breath might change, it might be too much to hold. But I want you to play around with the knee down first and then come underneath. If you're feeling that you're getting a stretch, but you're feeling good, then extend that leg out and feel that increase. And then you're going to come back, you're going to swap over. Remember, this is a video that it's been made to pause, okay? I'm here, I'm happy to talk things through. If you don't need me to talk things through, just pause me. Get into the position. Get into the stretch. Own the routine, okay? Make it yours. Some of the stuff doesn't really get, then drop me a message, comment, happily take the feedback and bring something more to the table. So what I'm going to ask of you now is classic cat and cow. So from the side position, we're going to drop the stomach and then raise through and drop and raise. Now the only difference I'm going to suggest to you is if you're somebody who does struggle with groin tension, groin strain, then the only difference within this cat and cow is you're going to go into frog pose. If you're not familiar with frog pose, it is in its own right an amazing stretch. So my legs have gone out, okay, here. I drop down into like the plank position, all right? And the rules are, once again, you need to get that neutral gaze, your elbows under your shoulders, your thighs, okay, need to be straight up, okay, vertical. So we're not coming too far back, we're not coming too far forward, all right? We need to be nice and vertical. Feet are flat. That is the initial stretch. That is frog pose. However, if you come up and mildly do the cat and cow whilst in this low position. Now, if you can't get any sort of movement, then bring your knees in, okay? Bring your knees in and go for it again. You are then getting into the area of the very tops of your legs, the top of your bum, so the sacroiliac, which is essentially a major junction for a lot of your muscles. And while you are doing the cat and cow, you are dictating the arrangement and the behavior of your pelvis, which links into the groin, all right, the back, your bum, so many things, your thighs, okay? So I've been talking to you there for probably a minute or so, been working through the range, doing it really subtly. So play around. Does this work for you with your knees underneath your hips? Do you need to drop out into frog pose to just get into that little tighter recesses of your lower back and in the back of the pelvis? Okay, what works for you? And then finally, guys, can I ask you please to go back? Go down there. Absolutely brilliant. All right. So I really hope that this has been beneficial. I hope that it gives you confidence to know that stretching has a really, really important role with our body's pain threshold, with tension in muscles. One area that I have not put in the sequence in the routine, but it is definitely something that I would like you to try, is the thigh stretch, which is not your traditional stand-up thigh stretch. You hear on the knee, if you need cushions, if you need to make sure that your patella, if it is sensitive and sore, needs as much cushioning, get some pillows underneath here, okay? But the important thing for me and for you to understand is I want you to stretch the upper thigh, okay? So I don't want you to be doing massive lunges because then it gets confused and starts coming up into the hip. I want you to stay in there. So we tuck the toe under. We pull the tummy in and we lift the hands up into the air. And just by pulling the tummy in and lifting those hands up, you might feel a mild behavior shift in your pelvis, which might be getting the top of that thigh. And then if you're feeling it's quite gripped, it's quite tense, just breathe, okay, and just see what happens. But we go up and then we push that knee down into the towel, down into the pillow, push it down, see what's happening in there, all right, that thigh. Breathe and see what's going on, okay? From there, I then want you to change over. We then come up onto the other one. So again, we've got that nice stance. Thigh is going straight down into the floor, all right? Tummy tucks in. We lift up those hands once again. And again, do you feel the quad, the thigh muscle tighten up as you engage it? We want that initial reaction, and then we want to then start working on how we can get it to relax. Pushing down the knee, pushing up the hands. From there, I want you to come back down again and repeat it. Remembering from what I said on your back with the leg over stretch, go with your tight side, go to the less tight side, and then come back. All right? See what's going on. Engage those muscles. Get them to feed back to you. And then move through and from there. So this is a really good one for the quad if you cannot get your foot up to your bottom while standing and holding your balance and keeping your pelvis out of tilt and trying to keep your spine straight and your knees. This is a really, really good quad stretch. All right. So thank you very much. Any feedback, any comments, any questions, happy to answer them. And I'm Sam, sports therapist